But I asked Boyer, I said, you took millions of dollars in wagers from Ipe Muzihara. Did you A, ever meet Shohei Ohtani, and B, do you think he had any idea what was going on here?
What did he say?
He said,
wow.
Because I think that's also the problem too, is there are certain guys in that life now that they don't have the ability to make money like some others. There are some guys that are rich construction tycoons and stuff like that. There are some guys that they might be a bookie or a loan shark, and it's not as easy for them now to make money doing that. It's a lot different than it once was. The neighborhood's a little bit different. So they're kind of fighting hand to mouth. There are guys that are in that life today that are on Social Security. And doesn't that life doesn't stop. You still have to earn.
Yeah.
So there are times where you become desperate. There was a case, it was about 10 years ago, a guy, Vincent Assaro. He was a Bonanno captain.
Yep, I remember this guy.
Vinny, yeah. Mm-hmm. Howard Beach guy. And throughout his life, Vinny Assaro always had gambling issues, big gambler. He was actually at one point in the 50s addicted to heroin. He beat it. But he'd always had that dependence on something. And he got older, and he was still a button man, made guy. He was running out of Queens. And he was always this knockout guy where he didn't have construction and stuff like that. He was out breaking heads, doing what he had to do. And late in his life, he was about 80 years old. He had a younger crew. I'm talking about 20s. In fact, John Gotti's grandson was one of them. He was indicted for this. There's a guy, Gene Borello, as well. He's on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I talked to him once.
Yeah, they were doing stuff for Vinny, and in the end, they were doing some real crazy stuff, like running houses, pistol whipping people. There was one situation where Vinny Assaro was driving in Howard Beach on Cross Bay Boulevard and was cut off by a motorist, and he gets pissed. And he takes the license plate and goes and looks up the guy. He tells them to go light his car on fire.
Oh.
They go do it. And, in the end, long story short, they all got arrested. They were doing bank robberies, all sorts of stuff. And some of them cooperated. And Vincent Assaro's dependence on young associates who he could not trust and didn't know much about, they were hothead revolutionaries, did what they wanted. He ended up going to prison over that. He was in prison in his 80s. And, the desperation some of these people have is when you're desperate to do things, you maybe will do things that you're not normally going to do.
That's right.
I think it goes whether it's old or young. Some guys just think nobody's ever going to catch me.
Yeah.
But look at what we just talked about with the robbery of the deck shuffling machine. You're in your own car in
texting.
Literally one of the most surveilled cities on the planet.
Yep. You can't go anywhere in New York without being in some facial recognition.
And the thing
software.
is, you're not in even in maybe Staten Island where there's some trees or something. You're literally doing it in Midtown.
Yeah.
And that's I think the wildness of this. But in terms of Damon Jones, we go back to some of the other
let's
stuff.
go to Jones and Rozier and really break that
down.
So I do have to say, when I saw this whole indictment, immediately everyone was talking about Billups, and yes, it's shocking. He's a sitting head coach in the NBA and all that. The name that I went, whoa, because it was tied to, things that had to do with games, was Damon Jones. And I say this lightly because people love just taking this 6 levels up right away. The reason I went, ooh, though, is because Damon Jones was a career role player who's been out of the NBA for a while now, who is LeBron James's maybe oldest friend in the NBA and one of his closest friends. And in this indictment, in the second indictment specifically, it mentions how Damon Jones, who is allowed full access, or at least was allowed full access to the Los Angeles Lakers locker room and everything in 2023, Damon Jones gave information on LeBron James as it pertained to an injury that then led to bets that were made. Now, does that mean LeBron James knew what Damon Jones was doing? Absolutely not. If I were a betting man, no pun intended, would I probably say that LeBron James didn't have any idea about that? Yeah. But it is not a good look for the NBA when the biggest name on the planet has a close buddy who's very intimately described in these indictments.
It actually goes back to, I interviewed Matt Boyer, who was the bookmaker for Shohei Ohtani's interpreter.
Can you explain that whole thing to people?
Yeah, so it goes hand in hand with this because I think it's kind of the same scrutiny level, right? Because Ohtani's this world-class baseball player, so is LeBron. Like, these guys are high-level athletes in it, But I asked Boyer, I said, you took millions of dollars in wagers from Ipe Muzihara. Did you A, ever meet Shohei Ohtani, and B, do you think he had any idea what was going on here?
What did he say?
He said he was at events and saw him across the hall or across the room, never really had any sort of conversation with him. Maybe hello, that's it. He said, as far as betting, do I think he knew that the guy was a better? Probably. Did he bet with him? No. And he told me that like Muzahara would always pay on the day that Dodgers payroll was paid.
Interesting.
Like it would always come at that point.
Meaning he was very confident that Shohei Ohtani.
Well, they were very good friends, these two. Like they were very close, like to the point that
Ohtani and
Muzahara, yeah. Like Muzahara was so close to Ohtani that he had control of his bank account. And like when Shohei would get paid, like Shohei had his own accounts for like promotions and stuff and like partnerships. But yeah, like when he would get paid, like he'd just get this big wire. And look, I don't. There's nothing wrong with being a good friend.
No.
If you have millions of dollars and your friend is in deep, you'll help him. There's nothing wrong with that. But in terms of like LeBron in this situation, I think it's a similar one, and it's less even close to that because I think LeBron just happened to be someone that they knew would make money if he was out, and Damon Jones, like a scumbag, gave out that info. Damon Jones was an assistant. And what's crazy about Damon Jones is like he was really like he would do this stuff, like give information, and then text him and be like, "Hey, make sure you get enough down so Dame can be taken care of here."
Crazy.
And then they would then send him Zells, like
straight from the people. Can you go to the DL doc and type in Jones? Portland right there.
Yeah, it's all very.
Type in Jones. I want to read.
And it wasn't just LeBron either. It was Anthony Davis also. He's player 4 in this.
All right, hold on one sec. All right, here we go. Now type in to find next. Okay. The fraudulent wagering scheme in or about.
Down a little more, I think.
Down a little more?
I think is that it there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in or about between December 22 and March 24, the defendants Eric Ernest, there he is again, Marvis Fairley, Shane Hennon, Damon Jones, De Niro Laster, and Terry Rozier, together with others, participated.
No, that's the actual broad one. There's actually a particular spot with Damon Jones where they go over his involvement.
All right, go up.
It's like they
go
did
to the next one, Danny. Go to 7. There it is. The Portland Trailblazers game.
Phillips.
No, it's Chauncey.
So
we already read that one. There's one where it's clear. Yeah. Orlando Magic. Nope, that's Cleveland. God damn, there were so many fucking games one. Here.
I was way wrong on the number. There we go.
Okay, by virtue, why did that not come up the first time? All right, by virtue of his relationship with player 3, the Lakers, and other NBA personnel, the defendant Damon Jones had access to non-public information, including medical information that had not been released to the public. This is for the February 9th, 2023 and January 15th, 2024 games. On multiple occasions during the 22-23 and 23-24 NBA seasons, including as early as approximately December 2022, Jones sold or attempted to sell for profit non-public information to others, including to the defendants Eric Ernest and Marvis Fairley and others, for the purpose of causing or enabling them to place fraudulent wagers based on the non-public information. For example, on or about February 9, 2023, the Lakers played the Milwaukee Bucks. On the morning of the February 9th game, the defendant Damon Jones sent a text message to co-conspirator 9, writing, Get a big bet on Milwaukee tonight before the information is out.
It's insane.
Player 3 is out tonight. That's probably referring to LeBron James, could be Anthony Davis. Bet enough so D. Jones can eat too now. At the Times, Jones provided this non-public information about Player 3 to co-conspirator 9. Player 3 was not ruled out of the NBA's injury report for the February 9th game due to a lower body injury. Player 3 did not play the February 9th game, which the Lakers lost. On multiple occasions during the 23-24 season, including in connection with the January 15-24 game between the Lakers and Oklahoma City Thunder, Damon Jones and Eric Ernest sold or attempted to sell to the defendant Marvis Fairley non-public information for the purpose of causing or enabling Fairley to place wages on the non-public information. In exchange, Fairley agreed to pay Jones via Ernest. Player 4, an individual whose identity is known to the grand jury, was one of the Lakers' best players during the 23-24 season. Prior to January 15th game, the defendant, Damon Jones, claimed to have learned from the trainer for player 3 and 4 that player 4 was injured and was only going to play a limited number of minutes, and or his performance would likely be affected in the game because of the injury. Jones shared this non-public information with Ernest, who then sent a text message to Fairley saying, "Hit me ASAP, got one for you, dude. He got some info." Ernest then shared the non-public information about player 4 with Fairley. Fairley paid Jones approximately $2,500 through an intermediary via a peer-to-peer mobile payment platform accompanied by the message fee. And it's only $2,500. Let me just pause 1 sec, Jeff. I want to tell these guys to stop drilling next door, and then we'll get your reaction on this.
Sounds good.
All right, we're back. So I read all that information right there. Download Mr. Nadu.
I mean, I'm always fascinated by both criminals and somewhat pretend criminals. Even regular people, like the things you go to lie about, and a lot of it's just like, do you know how easy it is to fake? It's like when a person's cheating on their spouse. Like they do such stupid things.
Yes.
Like any like Pee-wee detective could figure it out.
That's what I'm saying. Look at this. Look at the text, dude.
Yeah, and it's like, this is why, like, I'm not really going to give the FBI credit for much, but like, they don't really need to be that, like, particularly good investigators to find this shit out.
Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.